Restoration and Beautification Commission. We'll start with call to order.
Lucas Richardson.
Here.
Jermaine Sullivan.
Here.
Kathleen Grabowski.
Here.
Sarah Harless. Here. Jess Stallings. Here. Mary Kay Wilkosh. Here. Kayla Whitlam.
Here.
Public comment on agenda-related items. No public comment. Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor, voice vote. Aye. Nays. Approval of meeting minutes from the May 30th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes from May 30th, 2024.
Is there a second? All in favor, voice vote. Aye.
Aye.
Nays. All right, unfinished business. We'll have an update on the chill grant from Tracy and Teresa.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Morning.
So Tracy and myself are here today, and again, I'm Teresa Waldo. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Manistee. Again, we've asked all of you to help us when we do ever get the applications for the chill grant, to help us with that process of reviewing the applications. And what we're going to do today is just kind of go over some things that is getting us prepared for the application. So this packet that you have in front of you is just a template and just a starting. We are correcting it, we're revising it, we're reviewing it, and that's what we'd like to show you all today. So the first page you have in front of you is our chill grant information. Now this paper goes out to anyone that comes into our office, that anyone that Tracy goes out and sees, talks to, speaks about. And this right here answers a lot of people's questions about what is the chill grant and what it consists of. So we are in the future, we don't have a date yet, going to have a open house again to review this with the community and the residents. So first, this goes over just the top portion of qualifications. Very easy to let the person know if they're eligible or not eligible. The second thing you can see there in this square box that says household members. Well, a really good positive thing that has changed effective April 1st of 2024, the household area, the AMI income has increased. So as an example of person, just one person living in the household has increased, they can make up to $2,400 more a year starting in April. So that's kind of a positive thing. So people who are rural borderline on that threshold, and then an example of a household of 4 people, an additional $3,450 they can earn. So those are some really good things. So other, it goes on to your income, what repairs, requirements, and of course they can always see us to talk about this. If you flip to the next page, it's just a very quick, easy, frequently asked questions that they can reference, and I can give you any extra handouts or anything that you need. My office is on the 2nd floor. So now we go to the application. That's the next page. So again, Tracy and I have been working with this template, and it's a work in progress. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments or corrections or improvements, please see this so we can go over that. It's nothing that you need to do today, but we wanted to let you know and have this information. So one thing we had highlighted, as you can see in yellow here, have you ever purchased a home? Well, that we could probably take out because this is part of just a template. We don't need that. We know that the person does have to own the home to requirement to get that. So if we want to flip to the next page, because we do have a lot to go over, this is where we kind of get into the weeds of everything. So this next page, it says at the very top, declaration of section 214 status. So this form right here is given to us by the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, and it's a declaration form. So this form is going to first go to the applicant, and they're going to mark off whether they are a citizen, an immigrant, if they have permanent residency, any of those types of things, and then they have to document every person in the household. So these things will be filled out. Tracy and I will review all of this, and then you guys will be reviewing it after the fact. So those are just a standard form that's required. If we flip to the next page, It just says some more information about declaration status, but let's go to the one that says at the top, family composition. So this one is given to us and it just says head of household again, and this is going to be everyone that lives in their home. So they're going to give us their name of any individual that lives in the home, their social security number, and all the other pertinent information that they require. We can flip to the next page. This is our checklist. This is where we get a little bit more detailed. And again, we will work with the people to fill all of this out. And if they have any questions. So this is where it's going to go, section A, income. We need to know if they're self-employed. Do they have tips? Are they unemployed? Do they have military active duty? Social security, disability or death benefits, child support, alimony. I'm flipping to the next page now. The next one, I mean, like I said, this gets very detailed. Adoption assistance, trust, annuity, any inheritance, insurance policies, lottery winnings, full-time students, any cash, currency, sorry, I can't say that word, assets. I mean, they need to know everything for this. Now we can flip to the next page. Now it goes into, do they have a rental? Do they get income from rental? Indian trust land, personal property investments, treasury bills, stocks, bonds, life insurance, any that can do surrender value. Any assets have been sold, given away. Flipping to the next page where it says now verification of earnings. Now all of this is going to be that they're going to fill out if they are working. All of that they're going to put their firm or employer's name, and we're going to be documenting that and calling and verifying where they work and all of that. The next page is self-employment. And again, all of this they should already have with their taxes, but we need this all documented on the application. So this form is going to be for them to look at self-employed year-to-date income and expense report. It's the 10-L. Then the next page is at the top, it says 4506-T. This is a transcript of federal tax information, just like a college transcript. But with this, again, they should already have a copy of their taxes. But if they don't, or if they've lost it, or somebody else has it, or they didn't get it back, this right here is just a quick transcript that we can help them get that process going, and it tells us all of that information. And then I think you flip a couple more pages, we're almost finished. It will say at the top, verification of resources. Now this is gonna be their cash or income, account holder, banks, savings accounts, all of that information. On that, this is gonna be filled out by their bank or financial institution, because again, running their social security number, just like if you buy a house or do anything, it will find out and figure out where you have all of those assets and where everything's linked. You've got to show proof of all of that. Otherwise, you're defrauding. So with that, it's gonna say your account history, what the type is, how much you have in there, what's your interest rate or anything of that if you've got that income. Next page. If they have school verification, anybody that lives in the household that's going to school, we need to know if they're a full-time, part-time student, when do they anticipate that they're gonna graduate, do they receive any grant or any Pell Grants information, scholarship, how often do they get that money, all of that. And that is it. So as you can see, it's a lot of information. We're gonna have to work with the individuals. And this is why it's kind of been a long process. Everybody says to us, when is the application coming out? When is the application coming out? Well, we're working through this, and also they have not released all of the categories for us to finish this application. There is a lot of tweaks and a few classes we need to go through. We don't know when the application is still gonna be ready. We got this in October, and so we're still working through that, but I know, like I said, it's a lot to take in first thing on a Monday morning, but this is a start. We thank you again for working with us and working in the future with this. Hopefully you don't go running scared and don't want to help us after seeing this. But so Tracy is going to now add to this a little bit more information, and then we can take some questions and answers after that if you don't mind. Right? Thanks. And if I misspoke, Tracy, please correct me on anything.
Yes.
Thank you. Or add to it.
Hi, I'm Tracy Davis, and I'm with Housing North. And I've been working with Teresa on the Chill Grant, as she mentioned. So one thing I did want to talk a little bit about this whole packet that Teresa just went through with you. This is, many of the pages, as you heard her describe, are required through MISTA. It is dependent upon, for example, if self-employment, you obviously don't need to have that. If you don't have any college students, obviously you don't need to have that form. However, in order to be considered complete and submitted application, the whole packet needs to be completed. So somebody can't come to us with missing pieces and then consider that the date that they submitted their application, because it is on a first come, first serve basis, based on qualification. So if you're first come, first serve and your income is way above the limits, then you're not considered a part of the pool. So I did want to make sure to share that. Along with this whole packet, there is a program guide that will need to accompany the packet. And in that program guide, that is what right now we're really waiting on MISTA to complete, because they only have sections of it completed at this juncture. So they have to have their program guide completed before we can finish our program guide. And the program guide has to go to all the participants. So I do have a section completed, well, in draft form, for the grievance procedure. There does need to be a grievance procedure for both a contractor and the homeowner grantee that may receive a grant. So this is based on MISTA's. It follows their procedure. Obviously, I put in our specific information, who the administrator of the grant is, that would be accepting the complaint, which is Teresa, that she would then discuss, because the city is the grantee, she would be sharing that complaint. And it goes through the procedure that is a standard procedure for MISTA through their program guide. What I really am interested in, what Teresa and I wanted to do, is see if someone, we need to have, after a complaint is made, it will go through this process, and there has to be a review committee that cannot be Teresa as a part of the review committee, but there has to be members that they described as review committees. And I was wondering if someone from this group, whether it's a chair or a designee, could be a part of that standard grievance committee. And this kind of outlines the steps that we would take as a review committee and how that would move forward. Other people that need to be a person that has some construction expertise. We had suggested, it's not finalized, that the building inspector, it could be somebody else associated with building and construction expertise. We won't have a builder per se, because builders will be bidding on the contract, and builders could be putting in a grievance if they, for something that happens between them, the homeowner, and their construction site. A local community representative. I have fair housing and things of that nature background, and have taken numerous classes. So I put myself as a possibility, or it could be somebody from the Housing Action Team. But I was hoping that someone from this committee would be willing to be also someone from the community and be a part of the grievance procedure. So I don't know if you guys want to think about that, discuss at some other time, or how you would come to that conclusion. But that's what we're hoping, so that we can put this in a finalized format And if you have any other ideas, even for people like the building expertise person, other than Jerry, because we will need to put that whole group together to be in the packet, that has to be approved by MISTA before it can go into the application packet for the homeowners, if that makes sense.
The client complaint procedure, so is that based on like once they actually get awarded?
Yes.
Okay, so then it's like complaining about the process, or if there's a contractor that's not doing.
Right, if the contractor's not doing something, if the inspector decided that it was, the inspector decided that we are going to do up to code things, for example, as opposed to something that they may have originally wanted. Because once we go into a home, we have to address safety and code issues before we would address anything further.
So what is it that one of us would be assisting with, just kind of coordinating that
So
stuff?
Whoever your designee would be, would sit on that review team and would have to go through the process of reviewing the complaint, hearing the information. The applicant, the person that put in the complaint comes before the group, they have the option to do that, and discuss their case and their issue. And then we go through the process of either resolving, some type of resolution with them, or the next steps. It has to go to Bill, and it would go to City Council, and it would be engaged in this resolution services. And this kind of walks through that process of what it would be if there was an issue and it wasn't resolved.
And we're hoping there's not going to be. But
Right,
we need
of
to
course.
have this,
Yeah.
yep, in place if there was.
Would you sit on like a panel to then have the people come in,
Mhm.
just like a meeting like this?
Yes.
Explain it? Okay. All right, that was all my questions.
Okay.
I just have a question on the requirement
Which, for in the
for the.
application?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think when we started, it said that, you had to own the home for a year, but I don't see that.
Well, that has not been spelled out in any of MISTA's information. So we have taken that out. We're in that process still of, confirming with them because their stuff isn't complete yet.
Okay.
But it had been removed from their information. That's,
Okay.
Number 4 on the.
Yeah, number 4 on the.
it is. This was our original, but that is something that is sort of up for debate right now and has to be clarified by them.
Okay, well, somebody called me and their year is up this month.
Oh,
So I didn't know what to say because some
I mean,
people-
I would just, either if they're not on the list,
They're not.
our email list, then, please do that. Or
Okay.
make sure that they keep in contact with us so that we can, at least they can be at the open house when we have the confirmed. Because once we do that final open house, everything's in stone and approved by MISTA.
Okay,
Then we can't change anything at that point.
okay. Thank you.
Yes?
If it doesn't have to be a year that they own it, and say they just did recently buy it, how would they be able to put the grant as a lien on their house when the bank has no lien to the house? If there's no equity in it.
My understanding, I don't know about specifically when someone, because I'm not a real estate agent, how that process works, putting, when somebody just has a brand new mortgage. But from what MISTA has told us, that they would take the second place in if there's a mortgage for the lien.
And same with the insurance.
Yes, yeah.
It does kind of seem interesting, you don't have to have a certain percentage of equity of your house.
Yeah,
for
that is not in their terms at all. Yeah.
Seems kind of interesting.
I was very surprised that that was not one of their points. It originally was, but when they went through the the training of who is applicable that wasn't in there. But we left it in there just at this juncture.
So can you clarify, so if I turn this application in, it was 100% complete, and I had a number 1 on mine because I was the first one to turn it in,
And you're income eligible.
correct?
Yes.
Is it then automatically, because I'm number 1, I'm part of this grant now, or is it still reviewable by this committee that you're putting together to determine out of the pool of 30 that are all eligible, who's going to be the N?
So this committee would have to verify all that we've done, all the eligibility, all the ranking. And what will happen is you will get a ranking of applicants based on the timeline that they came in, and they have to be eligible. And then there will be an inspection that will occur, because if the inspection doesn't actually prove out to have what they're asking to have done, health and safety, then they would not qualify. But they would be the first on the top of the list. And they have to agree to all the terms.
So it's not necessarily based on the highest need then? Okay.
No, it isn't. I mean,
And our duty of it, from what I understand, is we're basically reviewing your work.
Yes.
You
Yes.
already have it teed up, and, you know, if you guys are perfect, our review is, yep, looks good. I mean,
well,
but you need a voted panel to do
yes,
that.
we need to have that secondary eyes looking at.
Yeah.
Teresa is going to have specific duties that she needs to do. I'll have specific duties. We need to cross-check each other, but then someone that's sort of outside of directly being a part of the application process needs to look at it and approve it.
Right. Okay.
So then you would say yes. So then the first person that's on the top of the list, we'd go and we'd do the home inspection. We'd see how much, they may have asked for 5,000, and they have asphalt siding, which is a health hazard. So we're gonna do that plus the 10,000, and that puts them in a different category. So that would put them in the lien category, because a roof or siding is gonna be much more than 5,000. So we jump up to $15,000. If they choose not to want to have a lien on their home because they're just uncomfortable with that, then we would just go to the next person on the list. And the applications will stay open until all the money is committed.
So can you do partial, like if they didn't want to do that lien, but they want to do the 5,000?
They have to address health
Health and
and
You
safety.
have to do
And
all
code.
of it or
Yes.
none of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, covered. And Jerry will be reviewing that and letting us know.
So there's a potential that, is there a maximum though?
$40,000.
Or, okay.
That's, there is a caveat.
Yeah.
It's $40,000, but if they have previously received MISTA funding in the last 5 years in the form of a grant or any type of subsidy, it would lower that amount.
Okay.
But we'll have already gone through that process and verified that.
Who pays for the inspections on the homes prior to any work getting done?
The grant will pay for it?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's part of that 40,000, right, per home?
We're putting that under our administrative costs for that home.
So it wouldn't come out of theirs.
It would come out of their pot.
Right, and we've got $50,000 set aside for that.
For overall?
Yeah, for overall administration.
Yeah.
And so once the lien is put on, they cannot do you don't sign off on liens. They have to keep,
The lien will be signed off by MISTA after 5 years.
they have to keep that house for 5 years.
Yes.
Yep.
If they sell it, then they have to pay off the repairs, whatever that amount was. So it is a 5-year.
Oh my gosh, you guys looked around every corner, and that's a lot. You did a lot.
Yeah, it's very intensive and very detailed.
Yeah, wow.
So will this application be filled out online? Or
Well,
We-
it's up to.
That's what we're hoping for. So we'd like 2 ways, paper document and online. So what we'd like to do, and we've kind of talked about this before, when it's the day that you're able to turn it in, and we're gonna have that window of when you can turn it in, we'd love to see that you have two options, either stand in line, turn it in to us, or push that button in and scan it and send it all in. So I think that would be the two ways, so that way something comes in at 12:01 in our email, and somebody comes downstairs and it's 12:02, that one from the email would come in first, then the next one, and we'd have it that way, because, you know, digitally, it's already stamped the time. When we take it in, we're gonna hand stamp it, initial it when it came in, and then it's gonna be like this, flip it over. We're not gonna be discussing,
No.
oh, you have everything, this, that. It's gonna be, here it is, it's stamped, next person, so we can go, because there might be a line, we've talked about that. I mean, we've got,
Oh my gosh.
200 people maybe, 300 people that are interested in this grant. I mean,
What,
it's huge.
what barriers do you foresee for people filling out this application? I mean,
It's a lot.
It's similar to the FAFSA, and I consider myself somewhat intelligent, and the FAFSA is not a easy feat.
No, it's not.
you know,
I've done it.
Yeah.
workshops and things have been held to help people with that. So what
That's right.
barriers do you foresee for this in helping people
Well, I
overcome
think-
those? Because you're gonna probably waste a lot of time. You're gonna have a lot of incomplete applications turned in, or applications that have false information on them. And I foresee you guys spending a lot of time
Yeah.
going through applications and handing them back, getting them back, handing them back. So
Well,
That we actually have to go through that process and document. So on the back end, there's this whole spreadsheet and checklist through MISTA that we have to complete. So every time we do a back and forth, we have to complete what it was, the date that we gave it to them, what it was that they were missing, when they returned it back to us, when we received it again. So we have to have this running.
but if you're doing that for 200 people,
I mean, there's not a choice.
yeah.
So, but what, those are some of the open house things, and what we've been talking through with people now is trying to walk them through what they need. That's why the packet will be very lengthy like this with the program guide that kind of talks about additional things. So if they have questions, we'll help them walk through those questions, and we'll help them with the applications.
And we're gonna almost have like a class, just like here, kind of up here, let's go through this, let's walk through it. But some other people are gonna get this and say, there's no way, you know, I just am not comfortable, just forget it. And we hate to do that, but that's not our choice. But you know you're gonna get some of those that just say, that's too much, or I don't wanna lead.
Yeah, but we will, in those classes, we'll go through page by page, item by
I
item,
know, you know.
to walk people through how they'll complete it and what they'll do.
And they have to have the documentation to
Yes.
back up all their answers.
Yes. And that's why some of those things, they have to complete for us to go to the bank, or they have to complete for us to send to the university for, if they have a college student that verifies. So,
Well, in some of these, you realize when they come in, I mean, we might get in, let's say we've got our stack. We might look at the first one and be like, oh, they're missing this, this, and this, on to the
Back.
next one. And so we should quickly be able to get through quite a few of them and say, okay, now we have our top 15 or top 20 right here. So, but we still have to notify all of the others. So,
and they can still,
you know,
we're anticipating that all that money won't be committed, worth the first 15, for example.
yeah.
We've sent these other applications back because they're missing information. They could still come in and receive some of that pot of that money, but they're not holding their place as the third person that came in because they've missed the rest of the documents that are required for the application to be complete.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
But also, you know, when they bring it back in, I'll have to date stamp it, time stamp it, review the information, and go from there and see if they have the information. So.
Is there any of this that's being released like preliminarily, so that way people can get some of the information?
We have released the Q&A. I'm only hesitant, I mean, it's not up to me, but I'm only hesitant because MISTA changes things, and if their stuff isn't complete, I'm worried that we've then put out information and then we change it, which causes confusion.
Yeah, but I understand that with the forms, but maybe like just, yeah, maybe be prepared with a few of, you know, like your tax documents and your bank statements, whatever you need. And
Well, we were hoping that's what that Q&A did, and maybe because that's not an official MISTA document, it's just to help people along, maybe we add in some of under the requirements. We do talk about some of the things that they may need, but we could maybe beef that up a little and put that back out, if that makes sense.
Well, we could add that to the email when we say, hey, now it's gonna be released on this date. Everybody's gonna have 3 weeks to fill out this application, to review it. So we could do that then, and that would also go in the newspaper and all our other avenues, and just let everybody know about this document, what they need to do. And again, like I said, we're gonna have everybody have the same amount of time to review it, go through it, have the open house, and so we're guessing maybe 3-4 weeks, I don't know, so.
But, I mean, I can add to the
Yes.
Q&A and,
Yeah.
like, be prepared to provide, and a list of things that they need to be prepared to provide, if that,
yeah, I mean, it made sense for Sarah's point. I mean, you guys get all the applications like the day before. You know, you get 200 of them. It's like, and you're looking for that 18th grant. Or so, you know what I mean? Like, you got to go through every single one of them. So I mean, maybe getting them, maybe that would help stagger people's submissions.
Yeah,
if they had it all teed up.
I'll add on
Yeah,
to that.
Absolutely.
The one thing I heard you say, and I just want to make sure, we'll have a release date and time that no application will be considered submitted until that time. So it'll be like 8 a.m. on Monday morning. So if they send it on Sunday night, it's 8 a.m. Monday morning. They're not going to be considered Sunday night at 7 p.m. But there is a release date and then there's an acceptance date.
Okay.
So they have some time to connect with us and ask questions. Like, I don't understand this section of what you're asking me. So that gives them an opportunity to think about and ask questions and get more information and clarity about what's in the packet. Because otherwise, we end up with a lot of things that aren't accurate information.
Right.
Unprepared, incomplete.
What you could do, like the bank now, a lot of your questions would be answered just by them bringing in their last year's income tax.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
then we don't have to
Yeah.
do that testimonial, that
Yeah.
one form,
Yeah,
if
and
they
then
can do that.
That's right.
I mean, you've got almost everything.
Yes,
Right.
Exactly. And so that's what, anybody that's been coming in just to visit me, pop in, call on the phone, I said, get your taxes all ready. Make sure you have, especially now, everybody should have already had last year's done, you know, because of April 15th. So, all right, you've got that fresh, keep it set aside, hold on to that, yes.
Other questions?
Anything else?
And then will you,
I have a quick question, if I may. What is your format for your open houses? Is it more of a one-on-one setting, or is it a presentation format?
what we've been doing is one-on-one.
Okay.
And walking through the Q&A and the questions, and then addressing any questions. If you have
I think we should do kind of a,
we could probably do both.
yeah, we should have got like a.
My only
class.
suggestion, not to make this is already labor intensive, I can tell, is if you ever wanted a path where you had a presentation here, we could record it and post it on the city's site, and you can direct people towards that.
Good
Just, it
idea.
could be one sitting, just again,
No, that's a great
I
idea.
anticipate a lot of people have a lot of questions, it's pretty labor intensive, so.
That's a really good idea.
Yes, it is.
Then we can just send the video recording out.
Yeah.
Anything? So, will you let us know if you're interested in being a part of the grievance review team?
Cheers.
What's your timeline on that? When do you need to hear back from this commission? When would you like to hear back from them?
If we could hear something back in the next like week or two, that's fine, because you'd be included in the packet that has to, Nisha still hasn't finished theirs, but our packet, that has to be approved by them. So
Madam Mayor would like to volunteer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful, thank you,
Wonderful.
appreciate that.
Great.
Getting asked with your job position anyway.
Well, yeah, it keeps her in the loop, makes our process a little easier too. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
All right. Moving on to the Safety Day recap. Leave Sarah and Kayla to talk about that.
I think it went great. There's definitely a big turnout. Us being there, we engaged with a lot of people that came out. Everyone loved the flowers too. The kids really loved painting and taking the time on them. I think it was a good turnout.
It's awesome. Did you guys make this flyer?
I did.
You made that flyer? Should put, do you want this on social media? Is that,
I don't know if it can be or not, but it was just,
so everybody get that copy or no?
oh,
Just
that's
you.
cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it to Mary. I think we should post that on Facebook.
Okay.
Did you guys already do a Safety Day post? Yeah.
But it never hurts to keep putting messaging out there. We had a lot of great feedback on kid safety, specifically because NRBC was new, and it looks like you guys ran out of stuff pretty quickly, and that was a pretty hot item. So I want to say thank you to you two and your families for giving us your Saturday. We know those are very valuable in the summertime, but I certainly think that's probably something that's going to be built upon in the future, because it was pretty impressive. Almost as impressive as a helicopter. I think we're kind of one of these deals here, but
I don't know about that.
but on a serious note, that's to give your time on a Saturday was a big deal. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I guess city banner update. Keep it over here.
I actually sent you guys a proofs this morning from Britain. So at the point now where we've ordered 14 banners and 10 to be placed along US 31, 4 to be placed on Maple Street, which will also include the police department logo, and we just need the proofs approved, and then they'll get them done, sent to us. And then we need to work with consumers,
Pick out the location.
pick out the locations, get the approval from consumers, and then they will install as soon as we're ready.
Okay.
Were you able to do the fire department too?
So we were only able to do 14 at this time. We had to cut the number down because of installation, because we're paying for the installation instead of having them installed by the DPW. So we had to cut the number down. So that's something that we want to look at for the next round, getting maybe 4 for the fire department along that end of First Street.
Just a question, since we saved money on the entrance signs and all the other stuff, it looks like we got 1,400 from the last fiscal year. Is that, we can't use that now, or?
It's up back in the general fund.
No, it doesn't include that stuff you purchased, yes.
Correct. He's talking about, those monies are no longer available to us. So now we're on to next year's budget as of today.
Which is 2,500 for the.
No, I think I can report back. I think it's 4,000 or 4,500. I can send that out in the email. I'll also report in the meeting today purchases that were made this weekend under last year's budget. So.
Okay.
And so the purchase is approved. I think, are you looking for a consensus on the design from the commission?
I don't know who it has to be approved by. I sent it to you guys and
I know the city manager approved it. I would recommend having a consensus or a conversation here.
Pull it up on the screen?
Nope.
No.
We
Okay.
have it?
I can't put,
Germany has.
Oh,
you can pass around a phone?
I thought everybody had them.
No, I can't pull up my email here.
Oh, I didn't receive an email.
This morning, just.
Yeah, I think they look good.
So I don't send an email to the full group because I'm not really sure I have
I
the
don't.
authority to do that. So I send it to Lucas, and
Sure.
then it can be disseminated however.
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest path. The key for sending it all is there just can't be a reply all because you start getting in a conversation. So I think it's probably the safest path.
And that's why the Kids Safety Day was only sent to you guys too. I'm just
that's
trying
fine.
to rules.
Oh, you're good.
I do think it's important for us to find out a price on doing the fire department as well, since that was the thing. So
We should have the breakdown.
if they can get
I
that.
can speak to that just a bit more about the fire department versus why the police department was chosen over the fire department as well. The fire department banners will have to be put on consumers' poles again, so that's a little more labor intensive.
Okay.
And it's done by Britain versus the police department banners, which are gonna be placed on city light poles, the
Okay.
fancy city light poles.
yeah.
And it's something that Chief and I have talked about that we're gonna figure out how to do. Actually, I've looked at the poles and it looks like there's actually banner brackets on them already.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Okay.
And so we were able to reduce a lot of the labor cost, and keep the police department banners because we're using city poles to place them on. So that's kind of why we had to make that executive decision.
Does it cost per consumer's poll? Is that what it is?
You know, they gave
It's-
us, it must be because they gave us when we were ordering 16 or 17 banners, I can't remember what it was, they gave us a labor cost, and when I said, you know, we were approved for $5,000, we need to get there.
Yeah.
This is kind of how we got there.
Okay.
And then one of the ways was to reduce the cost of the labor for installation, and we knew that we had the 4 city light poles that we could work with pretty easily on our own without getting consumers involved. So it certainly isn't a slight to the fire department or something that's off the table, because this kind of came about from Mary's idea of wanting to put something down toward the fire
Right.
department. We're just trying to work within all the constraints of, working with consumers is tough. It takes about 3 months to go through the process and get their approval.
Yeah.
There's some MDOT stuff that has to happen, so, I think we could talk about some ways that we could get.
Even if we did like 2 down there or something instead, but I think it's important too, because that is where it's.
That's how this all came about,
So
absolutely.
we can get like prices on that soon.
Yeah, maybe we
Figure
can
that
involve
out
it in this
Yeah.
price. I mean, do you think that's
I can,
possible to turn it around that quick? I mean, would they honor that the May pricing still?
it's been really good so far, so I can see,
Okay.
what would entail. Yep.
And would that one look the same as the police department, but with the fire department logo, or do you have?
Well, I would say no, only because that coloring is the downtown banner coloring.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And there's one more, I think there's beach, so I think that's
I think the beach was blue, right?
can't remember now. So this is the downtown banner coloring, this is the entry banner coloring.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know where that stretch of road fits in with
But it
what.
would be the same banner, just a different color for
Right.
the exterior.
How big are those banners? I didn't look.
5 foot tall.
5 by 2.5.
30 by 60.
So cool. I'm so excited.
But I foresee the fire department banner being like this, just with the fire department.
Yeah. So is there a consensus on this design? So
Yeah.
is there any issues with it? We can all just move forward?
Great.
All right. Sarah, thank you so much for spearheading this project. I know it wasn't easy.
Yep.
Not over.
Wow. Yeah. This
Well,
is,
maybe, Sarah, maybe you and I can go on 31 sometime this week and start looking at where we think those 10 will go.
Sure.
That'd be good. All right. I guess we can, do you think we should have a motion on this, or do you think, I mean, we kinda already approved
no,
the
I don't
project.
think so. The purchase has been approved.
Yeah,
There's a public consensus about that design. I think we move forward with it.
okay. All right, moving on to, future projects. Kathy, what do you got in mind for July, if anything?
Well, I talked to Mary, we're going to do it together.
Okay,
And I believe I'm gonna go with we're gonna go down to the, city and, probably do the fire hydrants.
Have you had that discussion with the water department to make sure that wasn't gonna be any, like, union grievance or anything if we had volunteers doing that work?
You want me to ask them that? It's Mr. Riley.
Okay.
I
think we
can
should-
take care of that for you, as I say, like, I'll reach out to them, see if there's gonna be any issues.
Okay.
And your plan is to paint all the fire hydrants or some, or?
Well, that's why we wanted to have two people, because it probably ain't gonna be all in one night. She'll probably take one group to one street, and I'll take another group to another place. Is that what we figured? Should we start on the north side
We'd have to get a list of where they're located.
and where they're located and stuff like that, yeah.
These fire hydrants are pretty rough shape visually, is that what, are they? Okay.
Because I mean, when I did my actual project off on my own, I did it like in, I did my project in April when it was cold. I painted the park up by us, but, I still wanna do an actual NRBC project, you know, alongside that too. And then we thought, well, maybe these fire hydrants would, help out. I know they gotta be a certain color. I'm wondering about, do we have to sand them? I gotta find all that out. So the project itself probably won't be till, well, after all the holidays, more towards the end of July, if that's okay with. Yeah.
So I'll reach out to the DPW director and say, this is what the NRBC is thinking about doing. Number one, is there any foreseeable labor issues? Number two, are there any standards that which we should be aware about? If the first question is no.
Okay.
Are there any standards out there we should be aware of? And I'm gonna loop in the fire chief, because this is clearly pertinent to
Yes, of course.
he and his team, so I can take care of that.
But I know that there was, kind of the idea came from a city that was on the news or something where the neighborhoods adopt their fire hydrants.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of completely becomes out of the hands of the city and the fire department. They don't have to worry.
There's also some other things that we'll have to ask them, like, you know, the technique of painting them. I know that sounds silly, but we don't want to
Right.
paint it so they can't open the fire hydrants. And then also there's certain hydrants that are painted certain colors because of low flow and medium flow areas, so.
Okay, that sounds great.
That's all information that we need to know.
Do we have an idea of when? Because we'll have to reach out to try to get volunteers.
I say we get the information first and maybe we
Yeah.
move at the next.
And probably take the, some of them are a little hidden. We could probably take the weed whacker and clean up around them. before
Sure.
we Get started and adopt a fire hydrant.
So it sounds like this project's gonna begin with the first question, and I'll CC you on that question. So the question we just discussed, if the answer is there's no labor issues, then we can move on to the second, which will define the scope of the project and what is needed. And if the first question is can't do it, then we'll probably have to pivot and think of something else.
Oh,
That's just-
absolutely, and I will get something else, Betty, to put in for July.
When's our next meeting?
It's,
Currently, not till
as of right
August.
now, we have,
I think we just do it in August, whatever. I mean, I think we need to talk about it at the next meeting, definitely.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Beginning of August then?
so then,
Find out.
if we do proceed with that, then remember the procedure of filling out that form that,
Yep.
that Mary made for the project and
Correct.
bring it here so then we can kind of go.
So
over
you
it.
can see everything.
Yeah, cause I think this one is probably gonna be you know, they're gonna have paint. You know, they're gonna, if it's something that we're gonna do, the DPW is gonna have
Yeah.
the paint for them.
Now, Jess? What was your project in August?
Oh, I have so many like that.
Well, would you
I
just,
always go back to just sidewalk duty. I know that
would you like to just, because ours is so big, would you like to work with us?
Sure.
And then the more we get done, the better for
Sure.
the, okay, well, once, a sidewalk will have to suffer, cause
I'm really good at that too, and I know that Kayla's like chomping to get edging and stuff on project again, so.
yeah, those are fun.
And
I'll
Chief's
talk
gonna
about
talk
it.
about the new equipment that he bought, which is.
So
Um,
yeah,
Would
that
that
would be
work
great.
okay then?
yeah,
Okay. So we'll
Um,
combine July,
I think Jermaine and I might have a kind of a substitute that might fit in that time frame too, is we've talked about painting the wall forever.
yeah, yeah.
And we've been waiting for the approval of the mural process for like 4 or 5 months now, so I don't know if that's something,
Which wall is this? This the infamous First Street wall? Okay.
in general, just,
Paint
you
any
know.
color, is that what you're saying?
Well, my idea was, because it's not a city property, so we don't really need to get permission, because it's private property, is we just have the gentleman that came in with his design, instead of doing that design, just do the mural in like a muted color that says Manistee on it.
Just like a big Manistee.
For a beach scene.
And if, I mean, we can't
Or
pay for the
use all
paint,
the
so if
whole
we need to
wall.
have somebody pay for the paint, we can find somebody to donate to it. I mean, it looks horrible. We can't keep it like this for,
Looks better than it did last year, the year before, but yeah, I understand. My only recommendation is we learn from the past and just make sure that we ask that individual to explain to us where the inspiration came from and A, B, and C.
the city of Manistee. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
So I can just get with the homeowner and have him approve it once we have a design, right?
Yeah, it's not city property. We don't govern it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're tracking it absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So that
we
could
would
be something
actually
that you and I
be
can
in July
kind
to
of
August.
get through. Did you ever?
Yeah, because we're doing it in August.
He's still out of town, right?
Or July.
Yes, he gets back on the 6th. He can have a mock-up done for us by the 7th.
Yeah, we'll-
So if you wanted to have like a separate.
And the idea that I missed, I guess, is just the city logo.
No.
Not even the logo, it just says Manistee on it,
Oh,
like
okay,
just
I
a
get
bit,
it.
like
Okay.
spreads out through the, but like not something that's like in your face, just like a muted grayish blue, whites kind of.
And he hasn't taken that from some other community. I mean,
Manistee?
no,
I
but
mean,
that
the lettering
concept,
and
the
stuff.
lettering.
I don't know, I haven't seen it.
Well, nobody's, you can't
Because you
copyright
can't
lettering,
copyright.
right?
You can't, so that's
At this
why.
point, I think
Beads.
Chief's on the right path. We
But
might
even
as
if
well
so,
just
it
get the
wouldn't
mock-up
matter
and.
because it's private property, so as long as that guy approves it, you know,
Yeah, but it was
I-
private property before.
I think the point is, if we're gonna be involved in it, then we need to make sure we check every box.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna hurt to get a mock-up and then
Right.
have
Oh,
us
for
all
sure.
say, yep,
For sure.
looks good, and then also have the city attorney review it.
Right.
Just do it that way. But on a side note though, Chief, if you could follow up with the city attorney on the mural process, Mary and I were waiting for them to review and provide that from like February or March.
Was I included on that communication? What are we looking for?
Follow up.
You can follow up
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it would be good to just have that if one of these other mural candidates pops up and we want to actually do something.
Right, we've talked about that since the inception of RBC, having a policy or some type of clearly defined path based on best practices and sound legal foundation if we want to have murals in town, and how we do that. So I think we just this can happen, and then we keep working this in the meantime.
how many walls like that do we have in town?
I'm not sure. I know that, I know in the past we talked about that wall on Manistee Hotel, like the one that's around the curve, the orange one, or I guess it's tan now. And that new owner, they rehabbed that whole wall.
Yeah.
So that looks great. that was one that we've talked about, and then other locations that were brought up years ago were like sides of buildings, but I don't know if we wanna get into that.
Well, that wouldn't be city property.
It wouldn't be city property, right?
But neither is the wall that we're discussing.
Right.
Yeah, the question is our involvement in it, and so it's,
And maybe we don't want to get involved in it, considering what has happened in the past and the turmoil that it caused
I think that could
for the community.
very well be the case still, but I think at this time, since we started that project down the hill, and if there's a way to make it at least nice and neutral.
Yeah, I just want to
Really
finish
easy
that
way.
wall. I have no desire to do another mural ever again. I just want to finish the wall so it doesn't look how it does now.
It would have been nice to have that whole thing completed before the Forest Festival, when we have all the people coming through town, so. Maybe for next year. All right, I guess Mary Kay, do you have anything for September? I had it on the agenda, but we can take you off.
I think that this will be a big project, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Okay. And then for October, yes, any thoughts right now? No?
Do you guys have any thoughts?
No. I guess one thought is, you know, we did do a pretty good job, I think, with that spring cleanup event. If there's any desire to maybe start talking about something for the fall too, if you think that'd be a hit.
I think it would be a good idea. How much did it cost though?
Our budget, nothing.
Okay.
But the refuse fund for the city, I think it was like a couple $1,000. And then obviously the 3 DPW guys that were there. But it wasn't too much of a cost for what the result is, I thought.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. I think if we can do it again, I think we should.
But with two dumpsters instead of just one.
Yeah, the trucks, yeah. Well, we can just keep talking about it.
That was lucky. Some of that.
But it was so beneficial to the city though.
Yes.
Any public comment? Nothing? All right, go to the order. Start with you, Scott.
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
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 I do have just one little tidbit. I don't know if you want to pass it on or not, but I'm noticing that like at the parks and stuff where there used to be, like the old Rocket Park, for instance, when you pull up now, there's 2 picnic tables and then one under the tree. There used to be like a garbage can under the tree as well, and now there's only one up by the porta potty. I think with this week coming up, it's going to be busy everywhere. So the more trash cans available for people, the less dumping is going to happen. Yeah, so I don't know if you want to put that out anywhere, but it might be beneficial to drop some for the week throughout the city.
Maybe we could pass a message to the Parks Commission. Okay.
I don't know if I'd go to the Parks Commission, I'd just contact DPW. So I can do that. I'm sure they have a plan.
I'm thinking
Just
so
like,
too, but
yeah,
it's
so,
just odd.
but in case there isn't, but, I'll go direct with the
Okay,
DPW.
sounds great.
More trash cans in the parks. Gotcha.
Mary or Chief, do you guys have anything?
Sunday I went shopping, bought some items that were approved by this commission. I bought locally, I bought a backpack blower, for $5.49 that blows 240 some miles an hour, inspired by
So we need to find a project so you can use that.
I was a Ghostbuster for a second. So I bought a half-round edger, so manual edger. I bought a scraper thing that you asked for. So basically, I bought things on the list. We spent $706, so we were able to purchase before the end of the budget some key equipment. That's it. I'll send out a
Thank you.
email. It was a wonderful time. An email on what our budget is, so we know for this year. It starts today. And then, code enforcement officer, we're very fortunate city to have very qualified candidates. We conducted interviews. I will be extending a conditional offer of employment probably next week, to an individual who is, highly qualified. So more to come on that, but we do have a candidate for that position. We'll move forward with that. Just a reminder to commissioners, as a part-time 20-hour-a-week position for code enforcement. And that's it. I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe holiday week and weekend.
Great.
Keep all your fingers.
Yes.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.